What's going on, retail world? This is Jason Hurst, Associate Vice President with Colliers with the Retail Unleashed podcast. And I'm here with my main man, John Moeller, from 100 Fitness in Jonesville, Florida. This place has a special place in my heart because it's where I work out, and it has done marvelous wonders for my life. So, John, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So, I want to just jump right in it, if you don't mind. Can we do that?
Let's do it.
All right. So, tell me a little bit about how you got involved in the fitness industry.
Yeah, so I would say two things. My interest in fitness started when I was real young. Two different components, really, the training component and the health and wellness component. I'll start with the training component. I was always playing sports. I was a little bit short, and so I had this fascination with developing my vertical jump.
Yeah.
And so I started doing all these vertical jump programs, and I really got into the training component of that, mostly because I wanted to be able to compete with all the taller guys on the basketball team, and I wanted to be able to throw it down.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thankfully I grew a little bit, and then I was able to throw it down, but that started at a young age. I would say middle school, really, where I started training pretty intently. And then as far as the health and wellness component goes, I think that came from almost a place of anxiety, where I'd had some health issues in my family, had some relatives who had passed away at a young age from mostly different heart ailments. And so I remember at a young age having some anxiety about that and really wondering what I could do to keep myself healthy and avoid those situations. And so I can remember around the same time being really intentional about what I was eating, my nutrition, which is unusual for a sixth grader. Well, no, it's probably not sixth grade. It's probably close to
So
like
by
seventh
unusual,
grade.
you mean like Gushers, fruit roll-ups,
Like just being,
snack in a box, crackers and cheese.
Just starting to be a little bit more intentional about what I was eating, and it kind of waxed and waned throughout the years. But even just having an awareness of that, and staying healthy and staying active. So of course, having those two passions, eventually I got to the point where I wanted to share those with other people, and actually started in my garage. My wife and I bought a house that we couldn't fit our vehicle in the garage. And so we said, well, let's turn it into a gym. And we started inviting friends over on the weekend, and before you knew it, we had neighbors coming over. And we had people asking if they could come and work out with us, and so it grew from there.
And I love the story. I love the organic stories of kind of, you can write a movie about that. It kind of reminds me of American Underdog, like
right.
Kurt Warner's story.
Just put Matthew McConaughey.
That's right, he could play you, actually. But how the concept of 100 Fitness has been 100 Fitness, as you so eloquently corrected me. 100 Fitness was really interesting to me, and how you came up with that name, but also some of the parameters that you put up for the gym and kind of the concept of the gym. So can you talk to me about the 100 Fitness concept and how that came about? And then why CrossFit?
We'll start with the CrossFit first, because that goes back a little bit further. In my own fitness routine, I had gotten bored. This would have been probably around 2011, 2012, and was doing the kind of typical bodybuilding style weightlifting, running to get some cardio in, and trying different things, and just realizing that I was getting a little bit bored with it. And so I started looking into different ways to train, and I came across this article in, I want to say, Men's Health, and it was talking about the fittest man on earth. And I thought, what? How can somebody call themselves the fittest man on earth? And it was about the CrossFit Games champion at the time. It was Rich Froning. And as I read about it, I thought, CrossFit, I've heard about this before. I had some friends who had, back when I was living in Colorado, had invited me to CrossFit, which had been real early in the days. And I remember them telling me, hey, I know you work out, but this is intense, like you're gonna throw up. And I'm like, why would I wanna go do a workout where they're gonna make me throw up? I don't wanna do that. So eventually, by the time this came around, I said, well, I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't wanna go and throw up in all the workouts, but I'm looking for something new. And as I was doing it, I realized, this is hard, and I'm not in as good a shape as I thought I was. And that immediately, that was what kind of caught my
That's how
attention,
I felt,
right?
I
was like, wow, okay, I have a lot of work to do, and this is good. You always you need to have something to work towards, right? And so I thought, wow, I've got a lot of things that I could improve upon. So that's the CrossFit story. the story behind 100 really is, we're a coaching service at heart.
Sure.
We believe that if you want to achieve your best, you really need a coach.
Yeah.
And whether that's a business coach, whether that's a coach for fitness, whether it's for nutrition,
Yes, agreed.
whatever it might be, a coach helps. And so that's really our purpose here in Gainesville, is to provide a coaching service.
Sure.
For health and fitness. And really what it comes down to is, most people out there have some sort of image that they want to uphold, or they have some sort of weight that they want to achieve, or they have some sort of accomplishment that they're aspiring to.
Sure.
And a lot of times people don't know how to get there on their own. And so our number one goal here is to help people achieve their goals, and that may be different from one person to the next. But what we want to do is really build your capacity in the gym to 100%.
Yeah.
Not only so that you can thrive here in the gym, but really so that you can thrive outside of the gym.
That's awesome.
So that's the goal, is building the capacity of the people in here, not only to be able to do well and do better for themselves, but to be able to serve others better as well. We all know, like, if we're not feeling well, or if we're tired, we don't have a lot of energy, we're usually not at our best, but we're also not at our best for others, whether it's our family, spouse, kids, co-workers. And if we want to be at our best for ourselves, we got to be at our best for everyone else as well. And so that's our hope, is that we would build you up to your best.
And it does, yeah. I definitely feel like I can accomplish a lot more when I come here and accomplish things, because you guys, you push the heck out of us, man. I don't know how I'm still living in some days, but yeah, you definitely accomplished that here. So we'll throw you a little bit of a curveball.
Yeah.
So when we look back on history, we'll probably call this the post-pandemic era.
Yeah.
So what lessons did the pandemic teach you to retool your business, and what have you seen industry-wide for the fitness industry in a post-pandemic era?
Yeah, so we opened 3 months before the pandemic hit, 3 months before the state shut down all the gyms. So
fine time.
We had really interesting timing. So we had a little bit of a runway before we got there. We had a few members, and this is honestly where some of the coaching comes into. One of the best decisions that I made before we opened the business was I hired a business coach. So that business coach was helping me several months before we even opened our doors.
Sure.
And with the collective wisdom of that group, we had some strategies that we had already seen work well in other places that had been shut down before us, because there were some gyms in our, I guess you could say, in our mentorship group that had already been shut down before we had been shut down.
Sure.
So they were trying different things, seeing what worked, what didn't work, trying Zoom classes, trying just one-on-one coaching and personal accountability for stuff that people might be doing at home, seeing what worked and what didn't work. And because we got to take advantage of that, we went into the lockdown period, and we actually had a net gain of members during the lockdown period, because we were doing stuff at home. So we had a couple Zoom workouts throughout the day, but then we rented out our equipment, just small equipment packages. We gave people some dumbbells.
That's pretty smart.
And some jump ropes and some bands and stuff like that to do stuff on their own. But then anybody who didn't want to do those Zoom workouts, we still had workouts for them to do on their own. And then we were just holding them accountable virtually. Right. We would do weekly check-ins with them to make sure they were actually completing the workouts, asking if they had questions, all that kind of stuff, if they couldn't join us on those Zoom workouts. So it ended up not being so bad from that perspective. I think coming out of that, growth was a lot slower than we had expected it to be. And so what I learned really was, one, there's always a way. You have to be agile and find a way to adapt. One of the best ways to figure that out is with a smart group of people, and not to try and do it on your own.
Sure.
So we had that group to be able to do that. But also, to always have a plan B and a plan C. Right? It obviously didn't work out the way that we expected it to for the entire first year. And so for me, going into this, I'd been working at the university as well. I went into this thinking, should I just go into this 100%, quit my job at the university, or should I figure out a way to go into this and keep my job at the university?
Sure.
Turns out I kept my job at the university, which ended up working out really well. But it was, even now, not working at the university anymore, figuring out ways to diversify our income.
Sure.
Right? Not just have all of the revenue that we're bringing in here be based on group fitness,
Sure.
right? Bringing in other sources of revenue like nutrition coaching, which
Sure.
we're revamping our nutrition program right now. We've got a retail arm now where we're selling supplements and apparel, and really, figuring out ways to not put all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Very good. So, John, tell me, this is a quick hitter, so I need fast, rapid fire questions. This is a rapid fire question.
Yeah.
So, nutrition wise, we know that you can't just get to your goals with working out alone. Give me the, 3 to 5 tips that people can take away, even from this interview, on nutrition to be able to apply to their workouts or apply to them even want to sit on the couch. I don't know. But 3 to 5 good nutrition tips that people can take away and really apply to themselves.
For sure. So first I'll say this, if your primary goal is to be healthier and you had to choose between starting a new relatively intense fitness regimen or modifying your nutrition habits, coming from a gym owner, I would probably advise you, if you could only choose one,
Right.
to modify your nutrition habits.
Right.
So now the best scenario
But still come
is-
to 100
the,
fitness.
the best scenario is both. The best scenario is both.
Still come.
But if you had to choose between one, you're going to get more out of changing your nutrition habits.
Sure.
So it's a really important thing, like you said. If there was a few quick things that I would say, number one, just like I said before, I think the best advice is to find a coach.
Okay.
Find somebody who can help you with knowledge and accountability.
Sure.
So you need to know what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat it, what to avoid, how to make it easier on yourself, how to prep food, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then you also need somebody to hold you accountable to doing the things that you say you're going to do, and to come up with a plan for, figuring out how to go from where you're at right now to your desired state.
Sure.
It's really difficult to just make a 180 turn and say, hey, next week I'm not going to eat any of this food anymore, like no more desserts, all that, and I'm going to completely change what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's just it is the rare exception of
Sure.
a person who makes that work. We have to change 1 or 2 habits at a time, and psychology would tell you that as well.
Yeah.
So just a few things if you're looking at this. Number 1, get a coach. Number 2, figure out how to get rid of added sugar in your diet.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst thing about the American diet in general.
So I didn't understand this, but can you break down real quickly added sugar versus sugar that is natural?
Yeah, absolutely. So natural sugar would be something that exists in, like, as fruits and vegetables are
Sure.
probably the most common
Yeah.
forms of natural sugar. Also carbohydrates, right? Same thing. Carbohydrate, sugar, you can use those interchangeably for the most part. But carbohydrates are not bad. Obviously, there are some diets out there that are carb-free diets.
Yeah.
Those can be good as well.
Sure.
However, I know many people who've been successful, myself included, with maintaining a good, healthy body composition and still eating carbohydrates.
Sure.
Just eating the right kind of carbohydrates. Right. So there's a big difference between eating a bowl of blueberries and strawberries, which is primarily carbohydrates, versus eating a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is also primarily carbohydrates.
I did not know that.
Right? So you might get the same volume of carbohydrates in the berries as you would in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but your body's going to respond very differently to those two foods. So that would be the number 2 thing, would be to figure out ways to eliminate the added sugar in your diet.
Got it.
It's in a lot of drinks. It's in, honestly, unfortunately, it's in most foods.
Yeah.
But when you look at, I've seen studies of people all over the world, and some people will say, oh, this is the way to eat. You got to go with the keto diet. The healthiest people are eating the keto diet. And then you'll find other people that say, oh, the healthiest people are eating the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
And you'll find other people that say, well, the Japanese are the healthiest in the world, and look at their diet. They're still eating white rice, and they're still eating, but they're eating a lot of fish. And then some people say, well, if you go to Greece and you look at their diet, they've got olive oil, and they're eating this. Or the one thing that I've seen that those different people groups have in common is that they're eating whole, natural, unprocessed foods.
Got Yeah.
Whether it follows a keto diet, whether it follows a carnivore diet, whether it follows the traditional Japanese diet, the traditional Greek diet, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
It's whole, natural, unprocessed foods, very minimal added sugar.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very enlightening.
Yeah. And there's a lot of information out there on the internet, so that's
Yeah.
part of the reason why I say
It
find
confused the
a
heck out of
coach,
you.
because you could read a lot of different things from
Yeah.
a lot of different people, and people who may be reputable or may seem reputable.
Yeah.
But something as important as nutrition
Yeah.
should be simple.
Yeah.
So we try to make it simple here.
That's awesome, man. I think that helped out a lot of us, because a lot of the people that will be watching this show and listen to the podcast are hardworking individuals and really need to focus in on their nutrition, not just to get to a certain weight class or a certain weight goal, but also to just fuel themselves for life in general, because our business and our industry is very intense and requires a lot of our bodies.
Yes.
So I'll end with this. So my last question is, for a lot of the viewers and a lot of the listeners, is going to be, what is that long-term outlook that you see for the fitness industry? And then from a micro standpoint, how are you positioning your vision with 100 Fitness to be able to take advantage of that?
Yeah, for sure. So as far as the fitness industry as a whole goes, what we've actually seen recently from surveys is that people are coming back to gyms, in-person gyms, and attending gyms actually more than they were at the pre-pandemic level.
Sure.
So that's good to see. I think there is power in community and bringing people together and working hard together, even though your goals may be different. You can still work towards your goals together in a similar fashion. So I'm happy to see that people are coming back more and actually coming back stronger than before the pandemic. There's also more of a trend toward these, what we would call boutique style fitness centers. That would kind of be what we would be considered here as a CrossFit affiliate. I've seen even large companies like Lifetime Fitness has started putting out some new concepts where, rather than their traditional gym that you would see, Globo Gym, what have you, they actually, it's kind of a shopping mall type where you show up and your membership maybe includes boxing classes at the boxing place, it maybe includes cycling classes at the cycling place, it maybe includes HIIT classes and CrossFit style classes, and you all of those. Essentially, they're putting all of those different flavors of boutique fitness into one place and giving you, as the client, the opportunity to choose between those for a single membership. So we're starting to see that with some of the bigger, more well-financed fitness brands. So I would anticipate that to be a thing, especially for those who are in the middle of the middle price point. You've got the low end, which is the Planet Fitness type places. They're killing it.
Right.
They're killing it.
Free pizza at the door.
Planet Fitness is killing
and donuts.
It is such a low price point that people join and then they just donate to Planet Fitness and they never show up. Their model thrives upon less than 15% of their members attending the gym regularly.
That's crazy.
If everybody showed up, they'd be in trouble. And then you still have some of the high end stuff like personal training, and you've got your Equinox and those that seem to be surviving. So it's almost like the middle price point. They're trying to figure out what to do. Do we shift towards the lower end? Do we kind of try to figure out what the other boutique places are doing, or do we shift towards that more expensive end? So for us, we're already in that boutique spot, and I honestly see a lot of opportunity moving forward to provide additional services that would enhance the lives of our members. Recovery services. So offering things like cold plunges and saunas and massage and
nutrition
and absolutely nutrition. Nutrition will play a big part in our business moving forward. But then for me too, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I've got this big space. It's mostly used early in the morning and late at night when people aren't at work. So how do I more efficiently use that space during the day? And we've got some ideas that will keep under. we'll keep under
Open
wraps
Zoom.
for now.
Just checking.
But
For my 2 cents.
But we've got some ideas that we're working on. One concept in particular that I think is gonna be really good. Once we roll that out, you'll have to have us back on.
Oh yeah,
the podcast
yeah. We'll
and
do a
talk
part
about
2
it.
for
Yeah,
sure. We'll do
yeah.
a part 2.
And Jason knows something about this too, because I've told him to keep quiet about it though.
We'll tell them a part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2. Well, cool. Well, John, thank you so much for your time, and this is very informative. We'll definitely have to do a part 2 because I think there's a lot more we can get into, especially when it pertains to the fitness industry and some of the competitors and competitive landscape. But this has been another episode, season 2 of the podcast. I made it to season 2, y'all. Not that I had any restraints, but season 2 of the podcast, the Retail Unleashed podcast. I am Jason Hurst, Colliers International. We'll see you soon.